Wolf devotion with a touching story girl, stranger than imagination. Wolves are depicted as intimidating and dangerous creatures. In children's nursery rhymes, they're often called the big bad wolf. In reality, wolves have more than one personality, and their attitude depends on how you treat them. They have an excellent memory, which is why they can easily recognize those who are good to them and those who are not. The majestic creatures know when to give back. There have been instances when humans experienced their kindness, one where life was on the line. This village stands very close to the forest. To the left of the ravines behind them is a river, a very beautiful place. No wonder people chose this beauty when they settled here. This extraordinary story happened here in a small village of 50 houses. In this village lived a family, Vladimir and his wife Anastasia, and a girl, Rosa. The girl was only 5 years old when her father brought a puppy from the forest, an almost blind wolf cub. Although it was small at all, it was already biting and scratching. Apparently the instincts were already working. So they grew together, Rosa and the wolf cub. As you don't pass by their house, Rosa always plays with the wolf in the yard, trains him like a little dog. There was something for the kid to do. They called the wolf cub Diff. Time passed, and the wolf cub grew. A large, strong wolf was now sitting on a chain. He was never allowed to run around the village, as they did with wild dogs. Dogs also did not bark at him for a long time, apparently accustomed to his presence. Rosa still continued to play and feed with him. Winter came. Rosa was in the first grade with 5s and 4s. She also played with her wolf in her free time, and everything would be fine, only I began to hear howling wolves from the side of the forest at night, and once the Diff disappeared. How she could get rid of only God knows. Rosa warmed up, but life goes on. The father promised to bring the puppy a shepherd. It's also good, and the shepherd trained well. 2 years have passed. Rosa was now training the Count. She was now studying in the 3rd grade. Well, a little worse, torches began to appear. That day he sledded into the enemy. His father made excellent strong sledges for Rosa. Now Rosa could not roll everything. You could not drive home. It was already beginning to get dark, and Rosa decided once again to go to the ravine and go home. She took the rope tied to the sled and already wanted to climb up from the ravine as she noticed, like shadows flashed at the top of the ravine. Rosa took a closer look and saw several gray faces. These were wolves, real hungry wolves. They were waiting for him upstairs. Rosa was so scared that she could not move. She stood at the bottom of the ravine, not daring to rise. At the top, here and there, wolf bared muzzled peeps out. It will soon darken, and in the end, the wolves will surely wait for the darkness, and they will not let it out now. When her parents are still enough, Rosa was trembling with fear and cold. Raw pants and coats now became icy and did not bend. And it's not far from the village. He can scream, let someone hear, but Rosa did not dare to shout, did not want to annoy the wolves. Suddenly they rushed at him. The roar of one of the wolves was heard upstairs. Rosa looked and saw a huge wolf with a bared face. Apparently it was the leader of the pack. The leader was ready to jump. It was visible from him that another second he would jump from above onto Rosa. Rosa cried like never before. She felt so sorry for herself and her mother and father too, that she simply burst into tears. Rosa saw a huge wolf approaching her in great leaps. The girl closed her eyes in preparation for the worst, but nothing happened. Rosa opened her eyes and saw him. Yes, it was Diff. Diff! Rosa joyfully cried out. My Diff! Above the wolves whined for impatience to try hot blood. Diff turned his face up and snarled, then raised his face to the sky and howled. Now the leader began to go up, periodically looking at Rosa, as if telling him to follow me. Do not be afraid. Rosa obediently climbed the wolf. The leader was the first to get out of the ravine. With an evil growl, drove the 3 wolves to a safe distance. Rosa made her way through the snowdrifts toward the village under the scrutiny of the leader. Rosa safely returned home and told her parents everything. It would be better if she did not. Oh, and she got it from her parents. Wolves are not typically a danger to humans. While they are wild animals and can be unpredictable, they generally avoid contact with people. In fact, it's quite rare for a wolf to attack a human. In areas where wolves and humans coexist, there are usually protocols in place to minimize the risk of conflict. If you're ever in an area where there are wolves, it is best to be aware of your surroundings and to follow any guidelines or recommendations from local authorities or experts. Wild wolves, generally speaking, avoid humans at all costs, so it's unlikely that you will ever even encounter a wolf, provided that you were in an area that still had wild wolves roaming around, much less to have to fear one attacking you. Wolves don't prey on humans, although, of course, there are a few documented cases of a wild wolf attacking a human, but those are few and far between, and some of those reports have to be taken with a bit of skepticism.